Hello, welcome to Swasa Official Podcast, where we bring real stories, insights, and expert advice for healthcare professionals across India. Today's episode is all about how mastering the interview preparation in the healthcare industry. Whether you are a fresher just starting out a career or seasoned professional aiming for higher. We are honored to joined by Padmini Gopiram, a proven leader who has worked with top healthcare hospitals like Continental Rainbow Children's Hospital, with a stellar 18 plus years of experience across healthcare, e commerce, and hospitality. She is known as a career matchmaker and champion for individual empowerment. Welcome to podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I think Swasa is doing a great job of bringing in a healthcare hiring platform, a much needed product in the healthcare industry. Thank you.
You had a diverse journey from Amazon to hospital corridor. What inspired you to shift to the healthcare industry?
Okay. So Amazon and probably the IT and the ITES segment is a very well-known industry in India and across the world. However, COVID changed that. And when COVID happened, healthcare became one of the biggest, industries across the world.
Correct.
And definitely, I think you would have seen a lot of diverse, people coming into the healthcare industry now because everybody realized how important healthcare is. And it is definitely a growing industry, very important industry. And I think one of the things that every other organization or every other industry teaches is empathy and passion. But I think healthcare is the only industry which brings empathy and passion, and they work hand in hand. So I think that was a calling for me, and I really enjoyed my journey here so far, and I'm glad that I took that call.
So, how does your cross industry experience influence your HR approach today in the hospital sector?
Right. So I think HR in the healthcare industry initially was not as dynamic. It had, segments like recruitment and talent management under one umbrella. But I think people coming in from different backgrounds, for like me, has brought in a different kind of innovation, structure, and also hiring practices. I think there's been a lot of change in the way we hire people today in the healthcare industry. Bringing in the right set of candidates for the right set of roles has become a big, challenge. And I think that's where we've really, used a different approach. And I think that's been one of the best things that I've done.
Oh, great. You often refer yourself as a career matchmaker. How does that belief reflect in your hiring and mentoring style?
Okay. So career matchmaker is something I believe very strongly in. Because when I'm hiring somebody,
Yeah.
I would definitely want them to be, someone who fits the role. If we do not match the right candidate to the right job description, it doesn't work overall for the organization. So I think it's a very important aspect in the hiring as well as talent management function, because when you hire the right candidate with the right skills for the job description provided to you, that's when you know that the person who's coming in will be able to settle in that role and perform the duties as expected. And it won't be, a rigmarole of hiring again and again for the same role. So there is a lot of stability, there is a lot of, expectations already set. So that's very important for me.
Amazing that human touch and adaptability really shine through, actually. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, jumping into third segment regarding healthcare hiring landscape. So, my first question is regarding the roles and what are the high demanding skills. So, my first question would be what kind of roles are in high demand today, both clinical and non clinical side?
Okay. So in terms of clinical, I think the hands down, it is definitely nursing. There is no doubt about that, because the demand versus supply is a challenge in India, and of course, the opportunities that are available abroad. The second thing, I would say technicians again. Specifically, I could mention endoscopy technicians, cardiac technicians. They're a very big challenge to hire for and in demand. And I think one of the upcoming positions within the healthcare is a physician assistant role.
Really?
Yeah, and physician assistance is not something that's common in India yet, but it's definitely a game changer, and it's going to be coming in, in a huge way in the healthcare industry. When I talk about non-clinical, I think a very important role, which is the patient care executive, is going to be become very demanding because I think everybody who enters the hospital is expected to, or is expecting, a one-on-one service, a personalized service. So bringing in individuals who bring in the passion, the empathy, the customer centricity is going to become one of the key, skills that's required for this role. So I think that's going to be another challenge. And another thing I think would be HR itself. Nowadays, getting the right recruiter to hire for the roles, getting the right person to represent your organization when you're hiring, that's going to be demanding. Getting the people who can be business partners, that's another thing, that's an upcoming, and demanding role that's going to come through in the healthcare industry.
Interesting. So, from your point of view, what are the soft skills healthcare employers value most today? Is it empathy, communication, or resilience?
I would say all three.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's a very emotionally charged, industry. And if we are not able to deal with difficult and emotional situations where resilience comes in or empathy comes in, I don't think it is going to, work for the person working in a hospital. It it is going to be required for that person to be able to handle all these skills.
great. So, you worked as a employer branding as well. How important is it for candidate to align themselves with hospital vision before the interview?
It is extremely important.
Yeah.
I think it's a game changer because if a person is aware of what is the hospital's mission, they would be able to, kind of align their answers or align their goals to the expectations of the role that they're applying for.
Yeah.
And in fact, if they have gone through the vision and they're aligned with it, it will come naturally to them in an interview to align their answers accordingly. And that will be definitely a game changer for the interviewer because the person would know that this person is passionately and honestly interested in applying for this role.
Sure. So, let's jump to the important topic for this today's podcast, that is regarding the core interview preparation. So, my first question would be, let's talk about step one, preparation. So, what should candidate begins with?
I think the first thing that a candidate should begin with is reading the job description. Okay, understanding what is the role that the organization is looking for, because most of the time what happens is they just see a job which says maybe the designation is a project manager, but they don't kind of go through the details in that job description and they just apply for it, which is not the right way. I would always suggest that a person go through the job description, align themselves to the role before applying, because it will also give them a hint whether they really want to be doing this or they don't. I think that's a very, very important step that many of us miss.
Correct. And there is another important question most of the fresher or experienced professional ask about how to answer. Tell me about yourself. It sounds very simple, but trips people up. How should one craft their self-introduction in the interview?
Yeah. So tell me about yourself can be a, decider. It is a very simple question, like you said, but, it can make or break it for the person in the interview. So it is very important that the person is well aware of his professional achievements, what they have done, or what are they aiming for in a very structured manner put across to the interviewer is extremely important. And I think it should always end with what is their end goal when they apply for this job. What is it that they look at themselves and why they feel that they fit into, the role. And that's how the interaction should be kind of designed.
Also, so my next question would be like, what should applicants research about the hospitals before the interview, and how they should get knowledge about the stability?
Yes. So I think in couple of my videos on YouTube and Instagram, you would see that I have mentioned that, it is very, very important to go to the company website. Most of the listed organization would have their annual reports available in the financial segment. And it is very important that they if they can, to download it and go through it, because it gives them a leadership. It gives them what they've done in the past year, what are they aiming to achieve in the following year, and what is it that, who's the leader, what are their mission, what is their vision. I think that's all available on any company website.
Yeah.
And this way they can actually tailor their responses, and I believe this is very important, because then it helps the candidate align themselves to the organization that they're applying for and tailoring their answers or responses accordingly.
Exactly. We need expert advice from your end. You have gone through hundreds of resumes. So, what are the top do's and don'ts when you go through these resumes? What comes to the CV writing?
Yeah. So I think I've definitely been through thousands and thousands of resumes. I think the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at a resume is it well structured? Second, I think, have they mentioned their core attributes, their specific skills, and what is it, what are their qualifications, so that we can align them to the role that we're looking at. I think that don'ts, writing too much on the resume, making it extremely long and making it very generic. I think that's something that I would not expect a candidate to do.
So, I have gone through various resumes into Swasa platform as well. Most of our healthcare professionals are building their own resumes with the resume builders. There, we are facing issue with the readability of that resume. Those all are not ATS friendly, and those all are not parsable resumes. So, what do you suggest on that? Like how to prepare their own resume?
See, I wouldn't say do not prepare your resume on resume builders. Definitely you can do it. There are some very good websites that have very good formats. But what I would request anybody to do is to ensure that they are putting in the right skills, the right, description. Because sometimes what happens, if you say I'm a patient executive, it'll give you generic, things that you may have done in that role. But what you need to do is that when you say, suppose you are working in a certain hospital and then you're trying to apply for another one, what is it that you've specifically done in this particular hospital that aligns with the role, is what, it should be looked at. I think parsing of it can be downloaded and it can be modified. So I think that should help in parsing the resume. But yeah, I think it's very important. What's written in the resume, even if you're using resume builders, is extremely important.
Right. Another interesting segment we are jumping into, navigating to the interview preparation. So, my first question would be, what are the common interview questions asked, both behavioral and situational, and how should one approach them?
Well, see, behavioral and situational questions, if you ask me, is a very important aspect for the interviewer. I think the best way to answer them is, structuring your answers properly. There's a method called STAR method, where you give a situation, a task, the action, and the final result. That way, if you have, as a candidate, if you have that, well thought through in your mind, then definitely, it will be good response for the interviewer. I think that's a very good way of doing it. Another thing I would always suggest is don't make it up, because when you make it up, the interviewer could ask you questions around it and know that you've never done this before, right? So you don't want to be in that situation at the end of the day.
And coming to the, you were led HR for hospitals with JCI, NABH audit. So, could questions around patient safety or hospital complaints come up?
Yes, in some situations, yes. Maybe in specific roles like probably nursing and clinical areas, yes, they do come up. If you ask me specifically in terms of hospital compliance, it could come up even in other roles, because it is extremely important, and you would also know how well the candidate is following the process and is aligned to being compliant. It's extremely important to ask these questions also in the interview. So a candidate should be prepared to answer them.
Yeah. So you have informed about STAR method in the approaching. So how does that STAR method help answering the questions effectively?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think the STAR method is a very good method to structure your answers. It gives clarity to the interviewer on what you've exactly been able to do. what are the challenges you may have faced while doing that task, and how have you overcome it, and probably even changed the way you've approached it.
Yeah.
And what has been the result of it. It may not have worked out, but being honest about it and giving the situation honestly and in a structured manner makes a huge difference.
So there is a common question we used to get from our community members. What are the top important questions to be asked in the interview? If you could name top 3 interview questions, that will be great for our viewers.
I think one of them is definitely tell me about yourself. Okay. That is, asked by any interviewer in any interview. The second thing I think they would say is, why do you want to join our organization?
Yeah.
And that's when, if you go back to my previous, questions and answers that I've given you, it's very important that we go through the company website. The third is, I think, very definitely there will be a question on couple of things like how have you worked in a team, or how have you handled certain situations. Like, for example, a nurse has a very, very, non-accommodative patient, and how do you deal with such situations? I think those are kind of questions that you should expect in an interview.
Awesome. So that is helpful, Padmini ma'am. So coming to the other question, dress code, posture and presence. How important are these for the creating the first impression?
See, dress code, I would say dress appropriately. Second, if you ask me about posture, yes, and presence, I think both go hand in hand. How you maintain eye contact, how confidently you give your answers, and even if you're nervous, it's okay to be nervous, but even if you're nervous, have a glass of water and make sure that you are able to answer what the interviewer is asking. So
True.
It's very important to be confident. It's okay to practice.
Awesome. We know most of our community members are preparing for an interview, or they are appearing for an interview. These suggestions are make them life easier for appearing in interview. Thank you so much. So the next question would be, what kind of questions should candidate ask in the interview? Does it make impact?
Yes, it does. I think a candidate should ask smart questions. Okay. It should not be related to, probably the salary in the first go. What the candidate should ask is about what is their, what is their specific task that they have to perform in the role. If the interviewer has already not mentioned it, while it is mentioned in the job description, it's always better to ask again about that. The second thing would be, what would be their growth, long-term sustainability in the organization for the person who's joining them. I think these kind of questions are extremely important to ask.
Interesting. The next segment we are jumping into addressing common interview questions. Okay. So the first question is around the career gap. So let's talk about career gap. How should candidate explain their career gap with the confidence?
See, I think one of the biggest things in India, and I'm saying this very confidently on camera, is because I have worked abroad and I worked in India as well. And in India, having a career gap is actually a taboo, which should not be. Because there could be many, many reasons that a person has taken a break. It could be for health reasons, it could be for family reasons, it could be for any personal reasons. And, that's something that's very personal to the person. So it's okay to have a career gap. But when you come to an interview, try to be, I'm sure many people may not want to share the personal thing, but give an overview of why you had that career break and be honest about it. I think that goes a long way.
True. So if anyone has a career gap as well, so what could be the minimum range or maximum range where industry can easily accept?
See, it depends on the person, honestly. Let's say, for example, if a nurse has not worked for, say, 5 years, then yes, maybe the nurse may have to start from not the very beginning, but definitely probably as a ward nurse instead of going directly into an ICU or one of the critical areas.
True.
But it depends from role to role and person to person.
So my next question is regarding the salary part. Interesting factor. So what's the right time to talk about salary, and how can candidate approach it professionally?
I think the right way to talk about salary is only once you are confirmed or the employer confirms that yes, we are going to be hiring you and you've cleared all the interview rounds. And when the employer starts talking about documentation and talks about the salary, is when the person should talk about it. I don't think in the first go itself, if you go and say, yeah, I'm at this much, I'm expecting this much, are you okay to give it to me? Then it may just tip off the interviewer. So, I think the best way to approach it is wait for the employer to ask you.
True. So coming to the your expertise topic related to POSH training, you have done the certification. Why is POSH awareness is essential, and can candidate across access workspace safety during the interview?
Yes, definitely. I think POSH Act, while it is for only the women, sexual harassment is something that can happen to both men and women. Okay. And in the healthcare industry, we do have a diverse workforce, right? From people who may not be as educated as doctors. People could be from, just passed out their 10th, 12th. So many people may or may not know what is sexual harassment. Even a guy staring at a woman, could be considered as a sexual harassment in some cases. So I think it is very, very important to make sure that everybody is aware. And it is not something that anyone should accept. I think when it comes to a candidate, yes, the candidate would definitely be able to identify. There are times when maybe the interviewer himself is not or herself is not, very professional. And another thing that goes a long way, like I saw in your offices, you have the POSH going on all the TVs.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it is extremely important for the person coming from outside to know that you are consciously looking into that.
Yes.
It is extremely important.
True. And when you talk about women's safety, we have seen multiple cases in the healthcare industry. You take the Kolkata case or Hyderabad women harassment. So, what is your suggestion for a women's safety if they are working in the day shift or night shift? What are your advices in that?
I think be bold. If somebody is harassing you, be bold to report it. I think the biggest challenge comes where people are scared to report it. And I think that's my advice to everybody. Report it.
Thank you so much for your advice over there. The next segment we are jumping into Padmini's power tips and her pitfalls. So my first question is regarding top 3 tips for acing an healthcare interview.
Okay, the first thing I would say is go through the job description. Second, be confident about what you're talking. And finally, I think it is making sure that you've got your introductions right, you've got your answers structured. I think that'll go a long way.
Awesome. So what are common pitfalls should candidate be cautious about?
I think 2 things. One, talking too much.
Okay.
Second, not giving complete information. And finally, I think being overconfident and going off topic can sometimes just go in the wrong way.
You're true. So any special advice for fresher feeling nervous about the first interview they are preparing?
Yeah. So it's okay to be nervous. Okay. It's natural. But I think what a fresher or somebody who is applying for the job for the first time can do is practice in front of the mirror. Look at a lot of YouTube videos on how to kind of probably give an interview. There are a lot of people who are now coaching, students and fresh graduates to be well prepared in interviews. I think take those sessions. But I think these are a couple of ways that they can really ace the interview.
Awesome. So coming to the next question, how should a leadership level applicants prepare differently from the entry level candidates?
See, leadership level, again, they may or may not look at the skills that you come with. Okay, so it's extremely important on how well you're prepared in terms of attitude, not going with an air that, I've already done this, so I can do this. That's one. Second, I think, is being extremely structured in their answers and responses, being able to give the real-time situations, because they'll have definitely much more examples than probably a fresh graduate or somebody who's had about 2-3 years of experience. So it's very important. And of course, they know and they should know what's the right dress to wear to an interview. And, I think these are very important for them to prepare differently. That's there.
That's great, Padmini, for your valuable information. come up with top five rapid fire questions for you. So if you could answer those questions, that is well and good. So my first rapid fire question is regarding what's the more important in the candidate? Is it skill, attitude, or both?
I think it's attitude.
Okay,
Skills can be taught.
great. So the biggest strengths in the HR: latecomers, overconfident answers, or copy paste CVs?
I would say overconfidence.
Oh, really? So my third question is for you is, if not HR, what would you be? Either you want to become a teacher, writer, or entrepreneur.
Definitely a writer.
Okay, nice. So my fourth question is related to a candidate. 3 words to describe a perfect candidate. Example: smart, reliable, or humble. So what is your perfect candidate for you?
I think smart, confident, and I think the final thing would be somebody who's well prepared.
Okay, Chris. So this is like a personal question. Like, you are a tea person or a coffee person during the interview?
Coffee.
Oh, great. So yeah, that's all about today's podcast. So thank you so much for your valuable knowledge. So we are incredibly grateful for your time and guidance. You have given our listeners powerful practice advice. And so to all our listeners, whether you are preparing for the first interview or you are applying for a senior level for your next big role, so we hope this episode fuels your confidence. And so don't forget to Swasa community, and we are planning for next podcast coming in the next month. So please be subscribed to our channel. Thank you so much, Padmini.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks.